This is Sarah, and I think that it's high time I talk a little bit more about the Moon Rabbit project. So, back in 2021, a long time ago now, Mark and I had an artist residency at the Leiden Observatory via Ars Electronica, which took place half in Leiden in the Netherlands and the other half in Linz in Austria. So this was a project having entirely to do with artificial intelligence. My goal was to learn how I could give my robot offspring, Noodle Feet, the ability to recognize objects in their environment and then make decisions based on whether or not they saw things they were familiar with. As an aspiring space probe, that seemed like an ability that Noodle ought to have. Moon Rabbit specifically, the means to the end, like getting to that point, was going to involve Mark and I creating a small planetarium where people could come and, lay down on the ground and look up at the stars and see if they could recognize familiar shapes and patterns alongside four different AI minds that Mark and I had taught to embody different personalities. And this was a meditation for me on what even constitutes as individuality or self. I had applied for this residency back in 2020, which, if you remember, was a nightmare year. We had all experienced this collective trauma, and there was a lot that I still hadn't unpacked. There were these thoughts in my mind that just weighed me down in a lot of ways that I'm still teasing out to this day. So Mark and I made it to Europe in late summer, early fall of 2021, right before the Ars Electronica Festival. And in the beginning, I was very diligent to document the development of our installation, this planetarium, as it was happening. So I was getting footage, I was pushing it up on my channel, and I was telling everybody about what we were doing. However, just by circumstance, my laptop started to swell up, and I needed to take it in to get the battery replaced before I continued doing any video editing, a CPU-heavy process. In the few weeks it took me to get my computer repaired, I made the executive decision to just hold off on trying to edit video while I was there, and instead really focus my attention on the moment. I allowed myself to truly be present for the residency, which in hindsight feels like the right choice to have made. I'm just not sure I would have made it had the laptop not kind of forced my hand. So, thank you to the universe for facilitating in that. I just continued documenting what happened. I intended to go back and edit the footage at a later point in time. It just hasn't happened yet until now. It feels right for some reason. While studying AI, which was, again, the nature of our artist residency, I really deeply meditated on the nature of our minds, our human minds, and the nature of self and how we perceive it. There's this quote on the wall at the Ars Electronica building in their artificial intelligence exhibit that reads, "We don't see the world how it is, we see the world how we are." And I think at that point in time when I read that, it went into my mind and unleashed hooks and has kind of sat there ever since. And it's something that has kind of been on the periphery of my thought ever since. Just as AI sees the world the way that we train it to see the world, humans experience life and the world the way that our culture and society programs us to. Our life experiences as a whole are our data set. They more or less dictate the way in which we experience things. They become our lens. And if a significant portion of this data set or our experiences becomes traumatic, then we start to experience everything in life through the lens of that trauma. And since I felt like I had gone through like more than a year of having to process a continuous stream of negative thoughts, I was meditating hard on what impact that has had on me as a person post 2020. And that was in no way far from my thoughts that entire time that I was there. I guess what I'm saying by posting this video is that I intend to start editing all of the footage that I gathered back then and releasing it. I want to talk about the project at large because it did run its course. I did go and meet people and discuss thoughts. I want that to have a space out there, have air, people to see it. But I also want to talk about the other meaning that the project took on as it happened. Yeah, that's what I intend to do. The last video that I posted in real time having anything to do with Moonrabbit was about me and Mark discussing the logistics of our exhibit and how that was going to be built. I think it was like our third revision of it and how it might look, I think. So soon I will go back and pick up where I left off and continue to do the do. That is what I wanted to say. Keep making awesome things out there, and as always, thank you for watching.